Shalom, Chavarim. Welcome to Matthew chapter 19. Now we're going to read a lot of things that are going to be very hard to take and they don't make sense in modern day, but I'm just going to read it as the word says. And it happened that when Yeshua finished these words, he departed from Galilee and he came to the border of Yehuda on the other side of the Jordan. So Galilee and the border of Judah on the other side of the Jordan. And great crowds followed him, and he healed them. And the Pharisees drew near to him there and were tempting him and saying, "Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for any cause?" But he answered and said to them, "Have you not read that he who created from the beginning, he created them male and female?" Footnote 177, Genesis 1:27 and 5:2. Genesis 1:27. So created Elohim man in his own image. In the image of Elohim, he created him. Male and female, he created them. Genesis 5:2. Male and female, he created them, and he blessed them and called them man in the day they were created. Verse 5, and he said, "Because of this, a man will leave his father and his mother and will be joined to his wife, and they will be both of them one flesh." And that's from Genesis 2:24. Therefore shall leave a man his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become flesh one. Verse 6, henceforth they will not be two, rather one flesh. Therefore what Elohim has united, man should not separate. They said to him, "Why then did Moshe command to give a letter of divorce and to put her away?" 179, that was Deuteronomy 24. Deuteronomy 24. When takes a man a wife and marries her, and it happens that she finds favor in his eyes, because he has found in her uncleanness some, and he writes her a certificate of divorce, and puts in her hand and sends her out of his house. And when she has departed from his house and goes and becomes man's wife another, and if defeats her the husband latter and writes her a certificate of divorce and puts it in her hand and sends out of his house, or if dies the husband latter who took her his as wife, not then must her husband former who divorced her back take her to be his wife. After that, after she has been defiled for an abomination that is before Yahweh, and not you shall bring sin on the land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you as an inheritance. Verse 8, and he said to them, because of the hardness of your heart, you were allowed to put away your wives, but it was not thus from the beginning. But I say to you that he who leaves his wife without a charge of adultery and takes another commits adultery, and he that takes a divorced woman commits adultery. His disciples said to him, if such is the difficulty between husband and wife, it is not worthwhile to take a wife. But he said to them, not every man can apply this word to himself, but only he to whom it is given. For there are eunuchs who are born thus in the womb of their mother, and there are eunuchs who become eunuchs by men, and there are eunuchs who made themselves eunuchs for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. Let him comprehend who is able to comprehend. That's a tough lesson, but that's the word. Verse 13, then children drew near to him that he may lay his hands on them and pray, and they were rebuked by his disciples. And Yeshua said to them, Allow the children to come to me, and do not hinder them. For those who are like these is the kingdom of heaven, Shemayim. And he laid his hands on them and departed from there. A certain man came and drew near and said to him, Good teacher, what is good that I should do that I should have eternal life? It's good rhyming there. Then he said to him, Why do you call me good? There is none good except one Elohim. Now, if you desire to enter into life, keep the commandments. He said to him, Which ones? Then Yeshua said to him, That you will not kill and not commit adultery, and you will not steal, and you will not give false witness. 180 is Exodus 20:13 through 16. Not you shall murder, not you shall commit adultery, not you shall steal, not you shall bear against your neighbor witness false. Deuteronomy 5:17-20. Not you shall murder, and not you shall commit adultery, and not you shall steal, and not you shall bear against your neighbor witness false. Repeat it in case you haven't heard it the first time. Okay, 180. And honor your father and mother, and love your neighbor as yourself. So we go back to Exodus 20 and Deuteronomy 5. Exodus 20:12. Honor your father and your mother, that may be long your days upon the land, which Yahweh, your Elohim, is giving you. Deuteronomy 5:16. Deuteronomy 5:16. Honor your father and your mother, as has commanded you Yahweh, your Elohim, that may be long your days, that it may be well with you in the land which Yahweh, your Elohim, is giving you. And love your neighbor as yourself is Leviticus 19:18. Leviticus 19:18. Not you shall take vengeance, nor bear any grudge against the sons of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am Yahweh. Continuing Matthew 19, verse 20. That young man said to him, All these things I have obeyed them from my youth. What do I lack? Yeshua said to him, If you desire to be perfect, go sell your possessions and give them to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven, and come follow me. And that young man heard this word and went away sad, for he had many possessions. That poor kid. Yeshua said to his disciples, Truly I say to you that it is difficult for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of heaven. Okay, before we go on, just how many possessions do we hold on to for so many years? Okay, now we clarify a misconception in verse 24. And again, I say to you that it is easier for a rope to enter into the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of Elohim. It's not a camel. Gamala refers to a heavy rope rather than a camel, which is also spelled Gimel Min Lamed Aleph. Greek scholars puzzled over a camel passing through the eye of a needle, which is a physical impossibility. Yeshua is clearly not saying a rich man can't enter, or he would not love this one. The heavy rope lesson teaches about a rich man entering into Shamayim after he unravels his fortune strand by strand as Yeshua instructs. In other words, you can't take it with you. If his wealth was bound tightly and strong like rope, it is to be unwound like threads which will pass through the eye of the needle. Careful attention is required to thread a needle, unless you have a needle threader. So are the rich obligated unto Yahweh for how their wealth is acquired and dispersed? So that's charity, tzedakah. Theological attempts to prove the eye of the needle to be a geographical location have utterly failed. So I'd go with this interpretation over any other interpretation. Verse 25. And when the disciples heard it, they were exceedingly amazed and were saying, "Who indeed is able to gain life?" Yeshua looked at them and said to them, "With men this is not possible, but with Elohim everything is possible." So this implies surrendering to Elohim, and then everything is possible, including sending camels through needles. 27. Then answered Kepha and said to him, "Behold, we have left everything and have come to follow you. What indeed will we have?" Yeshua said to them, "Truly I say to you that you who have come to follow me in this world, when the Son of Man sits anew upon the throne of his glory, you will also sit upon 12 seats, and you will judge the 12 tribes of Israel." This is the first time I'm seeing a connection between the 12 apostles and the 12 tribes. "And anyone who has left houses or brothers or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or fields for the sake of my name will receive 100-fold and will inherit eternal life. But many who are first will be last, and the last first." So let's chew on these words and be good to ourselves.